Hello everyone, I'm Andrew. I'll be going over some of the stuff from Modern Horizons draft I went through the other night. It's the first time I played competitively in any kind of scene in 10 plus years. Walked away with first place. So I'm going to go over some of the stuff I drafted in the draft that I won with. Pretty simple deck, straightforward, aggro with a little bit of support for them. Black, white, so we'll go over some of the cards. Once I get to certain cards, I'll tell you exactly what my first rare I drafted was. I kind of built my deck around to go from there. So we'll go through, just convert a mana cost and go up from there. Okay, I drafted Carrion Feeders, 1/1 for 1, can't block, sacrifice, put a 1/1 counter onto it. I used him to sack creatures too for another card that'll be coming up here in a little bit to pump other creatures on my side of the field. So when I saw him, I remember him from back when I played long ago. I said that'll work great for what I'm doing, so I pulled two of him out of the draft. I pulled this new angel here. It's a 1/1 for 1, flying vigilance. So great first turn drop. Just a beat stick to just kind of whittle away at their life. This is a very good first turn drop in a draft. If you're running any kind of white, I suggest getting this. Changeling Outcast, 1/1 for 1 with Changeling. It's every creature type, which goes with one of the first rares. I'll show that when I get to it here in a sec. Can't block and can't be blocked, so it was a direct hit no matter what. So I was going flying, going with vigilance. He's also a great card if you're running black, just to pull, just to get that 1 damage, constantly poke at him every turn, keep the damage rolling, keep the pressure going. So pulled 2 of him. This is the first one I pulled right here, first rare in there. Whenever him or another creature dies, put a 1/1 counter on each vampire you control. That's why I was pulling anything with Changeling. It's all creature type, so anytime any creature died, I'd sack creatures in my Carrion Feeder from earlier and put 1/1 counters on any of my vampires. So I was just pumping those as a declared blockers before the damage step. I start sacking to pump creatures I didn't want to die. Or if one wasn't blocked, I would sack to those to do damage directly to them more. Same works with, that's why he was very good in the draft for that. I pulled one of him. And this is another reason why I pulled white. When I saw the Imposter of the Six Pride, 3/1 for 2, Changeling. So he's also considered a vampire for me. He was getting the tokens also, or the 1/1 counters when it came in. So I was beefing him up pretty quick. So great second turn drop. Of course, if you're trying to pull the same one in a draft, for this to actually work, you'd probably need to pull this rare right here. That's the only reason I could do the Changeling thing so good with it. Now I know there's a lot of soldier stuff that they run in the deck too. Another guy was running soldiers and was running Changelings, and it worked very well for him also. But I've got 3 of him. Putrid Goblin, 2/2 for 2, would persist. Great card. I was sacking him. When I'd sack him, he'd die. They'd all get 1/1 counters. He'd come back with a -1 counter, so he's a 1/1. I'd sack him again, give everybody else 1/1 counters again. And there's also another creature I used, I'll get to here in a minute, that I used him also to sack to this, use him to sack to him for one of his abilities to give me 1/1 counters on him. So, but I only pulled one of him. That was the only one floating around I saw him. Pull this instant here for 2. You get to choose one. Target creature gets +2/+2 until the end of turn. Target creature gets -1/-1 to the end of turn, or I gain 2 life. I don't think I ever use a gain 2. I use the pump more than anything, and the negative to determine after defender's step to kill creatures or to get my creatures to survive that I didn't want to die. So it's a great card just to have, real cheap. Yeah, it's real good. Venomous Changeling. I only saw one of these floating around. Changeling with Death Touch. 1/3 for 3. So he was getting the pump also. and just a good blocker, because anything, even if they're swinging for something big, ninjas are back in this block, so I didn't want certain things hitting me because they could change out and do stuff. So even if they had a good ninja out, I could normally death touch it if I had to. Answered prayers. We had a hard time believing this was actually a common card in this set. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life. Period. If Answered Prayers isn't a creature, it becomes a 3/3 angel creature with flying in addition to its other types until the end of turn. So, we when this card was first pulled and we were looking at cards over and stuff, everybody's main question was, so it becomes a creature every turn. It doesn't specify whose turn, so if it isn't a creature, it becomes a creature. So the way it reads is every time a creature comes out, or every time you swap turns, like into my turn, it goes to my opponent's turn, it becomes a creature. You gain 1 life because they entered under my control. So every turn you're guaranteed at least 1 life. It doesn't lose this effect. Another thing with it is it's also got flying. It's a 3/3 blocker if I have to have it. And it does this every turn. First turn it comes out, though, if you're not very familiar with mechanics, comes out, it's going to, first time I summon it, it'll have Summoning Sickness. So until my first turn passes, it'll have Summoning Sickness. But I was able to pull 2 of them. It's a great card to have in draft. So if you're pulling white, definitely go for these. Don't sleep on it since it's a common. Very good card. Etchings of the Chosen. I know one other person was running this. I would have loved to have pulled it from him. It's a great card. Depending on what I was drawing most of, it was vampires or angels. If I pulled my rare vampire, I would call vampire out so he'd get to +1/+1. If not, I was running the angels, and I would pull one with it for 3 enchantment. As Enchanting of the Chosen enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Creatures you control of the chosen type get +1/+1. Sacrifice a creature of the chosen type. You tap 1. Target creature you control gains indestructible until the end of turn. I didn't play that too much. I don't think I might have played it once. But with the changelings, I could, if I was had this out, and I call Angel, or I had my 1/1 Vigilance Flyer out. It's an Angel. I'd call Angel, so I'd have 2/2 Vigilance Flyers. I'd have a 4/4 coming in all the time, Angel flying, and all the changelings are also angels, so they got +1/+1. The only ones that didn't benefit from the card was normally Carrion Feeder, and if I didn't call the vampire, my vampire didn't get it. So great card. If you're running these 2 colors together, it's a good pull. This is the last rare I pulled out of the draft pack. When I saw this, I was like, yeah, I've got to pull it. I'm, looking through some of the rares before I actually went to the draft. This is one of the cards I saw. There's a couple other swords that also have different kinds of protection. This one right here worked perfect for the deck because with the vampire, he gives +1/+1 counters when creatures die. So with this, it's an artifact for 3, Sword of Truth and Justice, equip cost of 2. Equipped creature gets +2/+2, has protection from white and from blue. Whenever a creature deals combat damage to a player, put a 1/1 counter on it. Then proliferate. So it's automatically a 2/2 when you hit somebody, or the creature with this gets 2/2 basically. That's why I was running Carrion Feeder. He gets the +1/+1 counters when he sacks, so it proliferates for him. The vampire gets +1/+1 counters, so it proliferates for all the vampires. And I was also running the flyers, and I was running the unblockable, the 1/1 outcast, changeling outcast that's unblockable. So a lot of times I'd put this on the changeling outcast, and he would, of course, he's not able to be blocked, so I'd constantly swing out, and he'd stack up real quick. He was normally a game ender, but I know it's a great card. Carried me through a few of the games right here. This right here is just kind of a filler. Pulled it. It has exploit. I didn't use it too much. Didn't see it much. Only pulled 1, but I just threw it in the deck just because it's a little bit bigger creature I could throw out late game. Help me out a little bit. It has flying, so worked out well. It has exploit. Also has whenever a creature you control dies, put a 1 counter on it. It gains haste until the end of turn if you exploited that creature, so I could throw it out for a haste and swing if I wanted to. But the main reason was it get 1/1 counters too, so I would run it for that. This right here is one of my late game drops. I could drop them earlier too if I wanted to. Fester of Fools, 3/3 for 6, but it has Convoke. I use the Convoke quite a bit with him on turns that I didn't want to swing out, or especially with my Angels during main phase 2. I'd swing out with my Angels. They wouldn't tap, and then main phase 2 I'd tap them to pay for his Convoke cost. He'd come out and he'd Devour. I use that 1 Goblin, the 2/2 for 2, with when he returned back would persist, and use that Devour to him to get Devour 2, which puts 2/2 1/1 counters on him. He also benefited from the Sword of Truth with the Proliferate ability, but I was able to pull 2 of him. This land right here saved me a few times. I'm glad I pulled it. I didn't see another one floating around. I would have liked to have had 2 in here. It's tap for a colorless tap. Add 1 of any color to your mana. So if I was getting nothing but plains, I could tap and get a black just from this. Or if I was pulling nothing but swamps, I could tap and get a white from this. Also, it had the ability to tap 4 tap, sacrifice it, put 2 1/1 counters on target creature. Activate this ability anytime you could as sorcery. Activated that to do a lot of stuff. Put the counters, that way I could proliferate if I had to, if I was later game. And I also, like I said, it was a game saver. I run, let's see, I run 9 swamp, 8 plains, because majority of my creatures, just like the vampire is 2 swamp, Fester Fools was 2 swamp, so I always had to have 2 swamp to do these, so I decided to go with a split for more of a swamp to the plains, and then use this as a neutral one to get me what I needed with it. Of course, when you entered the draft, you got a Ancestral Drift stamped for 3 enchantment. Whenever you cycle Ancestral Drift or cycle another card while Ancestral Drift is on the field, you may exile target creature. If you do, return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of the next step. And it's cycling for 3. Pretty decent card. I'm sure if you got, with that enchantment I've got, every time it comes on the battlefield, you can swap back and forth, gain a life with that. So not a bad card overall, just good for a collection kind of thing. Let's see, the other rare I pulled in the draft, my first and last pack had those 2 rares that were very good in it. My middle one is kind of one when I pulled it, I was like, it's good, but my pack itself didn't have a whole lot to go with in it. This right here is Crashing Footfalls, suspend for 1, suspend 4 for 1. So it goes out of the game as I'm familiar with it from Code Snap when I saw suspend, so I played some suspend soldiers back then. Create 2 4/4 green rhino creatures tokens with trample. Thing was, when I started seeing the angels and stuff, that's why I honestly went with the white and the black once I pulled the vampire and the changelings and saw changelings had white in there because of the soldiers. So I saw this, my second pack didn't have anything but basically blue, green, and red in it. Didn't have any black or white. I just pulled it just cause I was like, well, it's a rare. It's nothing else in the pack I truly need or want, so I'll just take it. Because I knew some people would be running green because there was some pretty good green cards that went by on the passes. So I was like, I'd rather pull that to keep somebody else from getting that because that would have been a pain to deal with on 4th turn. For winning the tournament, I got store credit and got this, which is Flusterstorm instant for 1. Counter to instant or sorcery spell unless its controller pays 1. Has Storm. Great card. because if they play the card and then you're countering, that's automatically one extra cost, so they're going to have to pay 2 if you choose the same spell, of course, but it'll always be the same spell because you're playing it that way. If they played any others, you just pile those right on top, and they go right over the stack over top of this one. So however many spells they played prior to that card you're countering that turn, you've got that many on there, they're going to have to pay 1 for. So this right here was a thing that you got for buying a box. I didn't see myself buying a box. I think the place I was playing at, it was $2.20 a box, and I just couldn't bring myself to paying $2.20 for a box. I'll probably buy some packs and open some packs up of them later on the channel, but as far as buying a whole box, I'd had to look at that, depending if anybody, just starting out. I don't have a whole lot going on, so we'll see what's going on with it. And I figure I had a couple more of the Sparks packs I'll open at the end of the video here and just see if we pull anything good from those. We'll go with these then, see if we get anything from them. Yeah, these are just 2 extra I had floating around. I figured I'd open at the end of the video to see what we got going on. That's the foil. Dreadhorde Invasions looks like what we got there. Of course, not the hits we're looking for like Liliana and them. So. Well, don't want to open, does it? Yeah, War of the Spark is really the one that got me back into playing. I enjoyed what they did with the cards. Looked through some of the cards my buddy had got. He bought a box. I was looking through them, and I said, man, I'd love just to get back into it. So that's really what got me back into it. So looks like we've pulled Dreadhorde Butchers are rare here. I love the card arts. Done a great job in War of the Spark. Some of the card arts, really enjoy it. Then again, I'd like to thank you all for watching, and everybody have a great day.